Hello everyone, welcome to Tea Time Tuesday, even though it's Thursday. So guys, needless to say, our world has been flipped upside down. It is a lot going on, a lot going on. And first off, I think what I want to do is I want to apologize and say that I'm sorry for this week, for everything that has been going on. And I know that we as a collective are feeling the pain of everything. So this is the topic that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about, I've called this collective manifestations. And so I want us to kind of think of the perception that we live in a law of attraction based reality. So what we are vibrationally determines what our reality is going to look like. As a collective, then, if this is showing up in our reality, it's because at some level, vibrationally, all of us have manifested this. So in whatever way it has shown up for each person has been different, but it has impacted us at some level. And so it is something that has appeared in our external reality to show us that something is off somewhere. This is one way of looking at it. This is a way of looking at it that, it has manifested for us collectively, but it is in how we respond to it that really determines what is going to be a part of our own personal realities and collectively. So the question then is why would we manifest something like this in our reality? Why would we manifest something this painful? And I kind of want to talk about how this is related to the age of Aquarius and the age of enlightenment. And if we think about, this is a time when the karmic experience is ending because the human species is evolving. And as a result of the human species evolving, the vibration is upgrading. And because it's doing that, the density, the energetic density that has kept the human spirit at a certain vibrational level, that density needs to be transmuted and released because the human species is evolving. It's happening. It has already happened. And so because of this, so you got to ask, how do you actually end? How do you actually drop this density and ascend? This is by dealing with all of the karmic stuff. All of the karmic cycles have to end. All of the density that is represented by the karmic repeating cycles has to come up to be healed. So if we look at what's happening in the world, this is a collective healing that is taking place because it is a collective karmic cycle that is coming up to be looked at, to shine light on it. Because the only way you're going to be able to transmute it is by shining light on it, to feel it and release it, transmute it. That is the healing process. So the earth now, the human species now, is going through a healing, a collective healing. And it is going to continue to happen, I think, personally, because you can't actually acclimatize to all of the high vibrational energy at once. It's not possible. When you are used to the darkness, you have to acclimatize slowly. You have to gradually get used to the light. That's the way it works. So we have to go through this layer by layer by layer by layer and let it go, move through it, understand how it affects us and what we are putting into the world, and change that, heal whatever we need to heal, and change the behavior so that we are creating better circumstances in the world. That's what is happening basically. And yeah, the density has to come up to be healed. So if we look at the coronavirus, that came up because a lot of us are compromising our health in so many things that we're doing, and that's put that in that put a pause on everything that we were doing, the cycles we were doing, how we were coping with our issues, with food, with spending money, with who knows whatever else, addictions. It also brought us into within to deal with any of the relationships, because during that time a lot of relationships have split, and this is part of the process, right? This is part of understanding that you may not be in energetic resonance, and that maybe soul contracts need to end. Again, part of the healing process. So that was the whole coronavirus. Now this whole race issue is coming up, and this has been bubbling under the surface for years, forever. This is the basis of a lot of our society that we live in now, and so it's coming up now. And the focus is not only being shown on, what's going on in our external reality and the masks that are being worn there, but it's also bringing up, it's also shining light on how we interact with other human beings at the base level of anything. Because the only way this is manifesting in our world is because we have been treating other human beings with this same energy. So it really has to do with kind of asking yourself, how do you relate? How do you communicate? What privilege are you acting from? What biases are you acting from? Are you treating somebody a certain way out of the love for them as a human being? Or are you operating from a place of systemic programming and norms and distorted programming? So you really have to ask yourself these questions, and this is going to be an ongoing thing. And you have to look at each layer that comes up, because if you can't see yourself in every other human, then you haven't reached unity consciousness yet. And that's where we're going. You have to be able to see yourself in every other human being. Every other human being is you, because we are all one. So I have a few other points here. Plato's cave. I know I mentioned this in the ego dissolution video, and at the end of the video it cut off, so that's when I was talking about Plato's cave, and the cave is crumbling. In the allegory, they left the cave and they came outside. This is like the cave is crumbling. What's happening in our world now is the cave is crumbling, and it's happening in layers, and we're going to have to look at everything that we thought the cave was, right? And then I have a quote from Buddha that said, in order to ascertain the truth, one must doubt all traditions, scriptures, teachings, and all of the content of one's mind and senses. So these collective manifestations now are a way for us to question everything. everything about the way that we are. Yeah. So that's what's popping. I think that's all. There's some other things I want to say here about duality and the game of duality. And this is really taking the whole collective manifestation thing a step further. And if you engage in the game of duality, you have to understand kind of how it works. And so I kind of touched on this where I said that if you are putting a certain energy out there, that is what is going to manifest in your reality. May not be in the same form because it's energy. And so it's going to come back to you as energy. That is the way the reality works. So what we're doing now as a human collective is we're transcending duality. We're transcending the separation. Because in the separation, you're not actually being able to see how it is all one. And so the separation keeps you blinded to the fact that it is all one. There is unity. That is all one. Like, okay, let's think about yin and yang, right? You have yin and yang and they're separate. And we typically look at the energies as separate, but they function together. And that is the only way that they can function. So until you reconcile the duality and understand the unity, you have to understand that anything that you're putting your energy into will come back to you the same. So we have a few options for how to deal with what's going on in the world. You can engage in what, if you are being pulled to engage, go towards it, because that is a part of your self that needs to be expressed. I urge you to be in constant self-reflection of the version of you that is put out, because it's going to be constantly evolving. And you're going to look at things and be like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or damn, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And that's when you understand what you did and the energy that it puts out and how you change your reaction to it. The most important part, I think, of transcending duality would be to set boundaries. And I wrote something about this the other day, and it was like, boundaries are necessary for transcending duality. Because we have to be able to set boundaries. It's part of controlling your own energetic field. And so the other good options, and I'm just going to throw these out there because this is so off topic, but we'll get into this in another video. Withdraw, ground, and non-reaction. The biggest thing right now is whenever something is coming up in your reality, go within. Go within and talk to yourself and understand why it's coming up. What is the wound that is needing to be healed? What is the part of you that is needing to be expressed? Okay? And we're going to close it with that. So all I want to say for closing is, you manifested this reality that you're living to show you where to go and how to level up. And so if something is happening in your life that you don't like, it's not going to change until you change. Okay, that is it for now.